Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope you guys are doing well this week, the week leading up to Christmas, the holiday season. So I'd just like to start off by saying, hey, Merry Christmas to you. Have safe travels if you're traveling. Yeah, just enjoy your weekend with your family or loved ones or whatever, because the market will still be here next week. So appreciate that time with your family. Okay, so I'm going to try and make this quick so that you can get back to those family activities. As you can see, I was expecting a little bit more bearishness to come in for the beginning part of the week. A little bit of a rally, probably up to the 390 area, and then probably just slow rollover, maybe going into next year or so. But what's really interesting is, and what you don't notice here, is we retested higher. We didn't completely fill this gap between Thursday and Friday of last week. And then we rolled over and took out the weekly low on Thursday. Okay. So looking at that intraday 15-minute time frame, we just had that selling kind of come in, continuation from last week on Monday. And then a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a rollover to start the day on Tuesday, a little bit of a bounce. Basically kind of ending the trend downward that we had been in for really ever since last Tuesday's CPI numbers kind of got released. Just kept selling down, kept selling down. So finally ended, and then we saw one day of real solid bullishness, I would say, since then, which was Wednesday. Saw a nice little pop here, kind of just hung out for most of the day, really. Most of the activity was really in that first hour and a half or so. And then the market didn't even like that. Gap down then on Thursday, rolled lower. Saw some buying come back in towards the middle of the day on Thursday. Pushed a little bit higher, closed a little bit strong. Nice little lower wick on the day. But then on Friday, didn't really see it too strong of a continuation off that buying on Thursday afternoon. Kind of just mostly chopped sideways, a little bit of an upward trend. So maybe the way Friday ends, maybe we continue higher a little bit next Tuesday, right? Because don't forget, Monday is a holiday in observance of Christmas, the December 25th, which is Sunday. So they're going to take market holidays on Monday. Now, if you're one that doesn't really pay attention to the futures and you really only look at the stock market, the SPY, kind of what I mostly do. I do pay attention to the futures. I just don't actively trade them. What is real interesting, if we do go over to the futures, what did happen this week is we actually did retest into the bottoms of these wick lows that we had through the beginning of December and kind of that middle of November wick down that we had on November 17th on the futures. So that was really kind of interesting to see. I didn't really notice that until we were on the live stream on Friday, and we were just kind of looking around on the market, and it said, hey, let me look at the futures, see what the futures kind of did, what they kind of got into. And yeah, there it is, retested right into those lower wicks. So kind of nasty there. Didn't really notice that. And does that mean that that was the only retest we're really going to get? Possibly, maybe. That's the kind of the thing. And when you go into some of these bearish moves, sometimes they don't fully retest. They'll just come back in the next little bullish trend and obviously take out those levels then. But if we do it, it'll probably be this next week. Taking a look at the Qs here, man, they are just looking so awful. I know one of the big reasons why, two big reasons. One is Tesla and the other one's Apple. We're actually going to look at both those stocks here in just a sec. But yeah, Q's not looking the best. I can go ahead and get rid of this blue box zone. We got into that. And, I would just expect the Qs to probably be the one that lags a lot out of the big four indices that most people watch, right? The SPY, Qs, IWM, and the DIA. Most people probably watch a lot of those. And I would expect the Qs to probably just continue to weigh on the general market. I don't expect the Qs to be leading it. Maybe one day here or there, but not as far as like trending moves. I wouldn't expect much out of the Qs unless it's in the bearish direction. So real quick, let's just run through the VIX dollar and that kind of stuff. So you saw the VIX here, as we saw one really solid day of bullishness, which was Wednesday, you really saw the VIX kind of drop off here. And then the VIX then on Thursday, man, look at how much that grew on Thursday. Wow, it really kind of took off intraday, or pretty much from the close of Wednesday, or how it closed Wednesday, up to 21% up on the day on the VIX. Obviously, with that rally in the afternoon, we did see the VIX come back down. But to me, still seeing a lot of complacency as the market still is rolling over, still making some new lows here, but not really seeing that reflected in the VIX. So Be a little cautious out there. Might be a good time to be protecting yourself with some put options. But let's take a look at that dollar, the DXY. So one thing that we're kind of talking about this week, the dollar seems like it's getting really compressed here under this 10 exponential moving average. So I could see it to where we pop out of here pretty quick. And I don't really think the DXY will respect the 20 exponential moving average. I would expect we'll probably move up past that eventually over the next few weeks. So definitely keep your eye on the dollar, which will then put downward pressure again on stocks. So we'll see how that plays out. Taking a look at that US 10-year yield. Very nice little consolidation here on Wednesday, Thursday, after a nice little move higher on Monday, Tuesday, and then a continuation Friday. So I would expect this thing to probably just continue to push higher. At least the next real target would be the bottom of this spot that we had back in October. So somewhere around the 3.9% area. Kind of makes some sense to me, at least for now. But this thing has definitely changed its trend. Look for it to keep on climbing. Looking at that 10 and 2-year inversion yield, look at this thing breaking higher now. Kind of mentioned this last Friday, actually had a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders action kind of form out here over the past few weeks. And then last Friday got just above that neckline. So I did mention to watch out for this continuation this week. And yeah, sure enough, we got it the follow through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit of a rest day, kind of come back down. Friday, a little bit of a move higher. I would expect this to kind of keep pushing higher, right? And I'll go into a little bit more depth this next week, but let's just get back to doing family stuff. We'll just keep it right on rolling, but expect this to probably keep on going higher, okay? So speaking about another thing that might get impacted from the dollar possibly breaking out here or breaking out of that compression that's kind of in is gold and silver. Definitely watching a little bit more of that silver action because I would like to get long on that SLV. But the GLD, yeah, I mean, if the dollar breaks out higher, watch out for the GLD probably to come back down. So watch the dollar and then watch this. If both of those things happen, just expect gold probably just continue to roll down. You know, if it breaks down this week, then next week we can probably talk about, you know, possible price targets. But just be watching for that. Looking at the HYG here, obviously we've had a very nice solid breakdown over the past week and a half or so. But the stock market, the SPY at least, broke down the lows of the week on Thursday. The HYG did not. Might be on a little bit of a holding pattern. Maybe we just kind of chop around a little bit sideways and then break down later on, probably in the beginning of January or so. So I'd say there's probably not too much going on here. But watch out for Tuesday's low. If we do break that and the market is not breaking down, possibly could leave us a little bit more of an indication to move in that bearish direction, especially this next week, as it'll be a pretty low volume week. So if this is making moves and the stock market's not really, kind of gives us a little bit of an indication possibly what's going to come in the beginning of January. So the big stock story of the week was definitely TSLA. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I've been bearish on this sucker for several weeks, months, a little bit over a year. It's nothing to do that I think they're a bad car company. It just has more to do with the valuation of the stock. And if you just look at the long term here, you can see, you know, just how much of a run up it had basically from 2020 to the end of 2021. So it's definitely one I've played short a few times. It's just kind of hard to play short with options because the options are so expensive. But yeah, I mean, obviously getting below this level was not good for the stock. And obviously we see what happened. It just took off to the bearish direction. So what's going to happen now with TSLA? Well, I would not advise playing this at all. We have a little bit of a consolidation over here back in the late 2020 time period. So I would expect a little bit of a consolidation here, maybe to mirror that. But my eventual target is going to be down here around 65, back here at this peak. And a big reason why is after we broke that peak, I mean, that was when we saw the stock really run. And, you know, if things get really pessimistic, maybe back here to these lows or this kind of upper end of this channel around 25, because that is also where once we broke out of that channel, that's where we snapped down, retested into that before we took off. But I mean, that's a longer term kind of target. If it ever got to 65, that would be where I'd be buying it. I don't know if it ever gets to 25, But for now, I mean, you just got to stay away. There's nothing you can do. If you're in it, then cool, especially if you're expecting it to go lower, but you can't get into it now. Like it's already into its move. If you do it, if you do want to get into it, like you got to be really small with your risk as far as how much you're going to risk because it can go one way or another. It's just in that zone. It's going to be very, very kind of violent in these moves because there's no real structures. It can definitely move one way or the other very rapidly. And we've already been seeing that in the bearish direction. So the bulls can come back in and just push this back higher because there's not really much resistance kind of above it except for, the moving averages that are going to be coming down. So I'll just be really careful here. I wouldn't be looking to take on new positions unless you believe in the long-term buy here. Power to you. I'm not going to be partaking in this. This would be a good spot to be getting out if you do have bearish positions and, possibly just waiting to reassess kind of how it sets up. Does it get in here and does it chop around, or does if it keeps free falling down to 65 like I'm eventually hoping it does, then hey, okay, I'll take a shot at 65 on some long-term stock positions, but I'm not gonna do anything with this now. But TSLA, yeah, massive breakdowns pretty much the entire month of December, right? The high it had in December was December 1st, that Thursday. Ever since then, this thing has just absolutely traded lower. The other big one that people are talking about, which is the big one, AAPL. And this one I actually do have a bearish play on, and I've been playing bearish puts on it for a good while now, for about 4 months or so, on and off, kind of taking it off, putting it back on, that kind of stuff, especially around this choppy period in October, November, early December. But what am I thinking now? All right, this thing has been really weak. It got down to this yearly low right here at about that 130 price level. The actual low was back here on June the 16th, a low of 129.04. Okay, that's kind of where this gray line is, and I'm thinking this next week we might see just Apple and maybe a few out of the big tech names, but mainly AAPL break through this line, this very strong support line on a low volume week, break through this, snap through here, maybe make a run to like 125 or so, and then start to push higher to end out the year, maybe like December 30th or something like that, and then go into January, retest higher into that like 129 level, and then continue pushing lower towards the end of January and February. The only reason why I'm kind of thinking that is just because it's not bouncing off of this level. It did initially, and then obviously it's come right back down there. Now you can say, hey, the market, the SPY broke down on Thursday and AAPL did not. Very true. That's a very valid statement. But you know what? The market was up pretty good on Friday and was not making new lows on the week. AAPL was, okay? So this is just one of those things. AAPL might be a big time outlier next week and really breaking down on the market. And we might see bullishness on other sectors because there's a lot of other sectors out there that are looking pretty good. Energies, industrials, a lot of those that are looking pretty good to continue a little bit more of an uptrend, but not tech, okay? Not tech. So we might see tech and AAPL really kind of roll over here, break through to the bearish side, while the stock market doesn't look like it's doing much, might be kind of flat, might be up a little bit, might be down a little bit. We might see that breakdown of AAPL and some of those other bigger tech names, and then other sectors kind of holding the market up, looking like the market's kind of flat, but we are seeing rotation continue to play out over this next week. All right, so back here to the SPY, let's kind of get an idea of what's going on this next week. Honestly, I really don't know. It's going to be a low volume week. It traditionally is between Christmas and New Year's, whatever trading days are in between those 2 days. So I'm not expecting a whole lot. It's just going to be low volume. And to be pretty honest, the scenario I can see out playing out pretty good is a bullish Tuesday as we come out of the 3-day weekend. We see a bullish Tuesday, and then we roll back down in the afternoon, kind of leaving a little bit of an upper wick. Wednesday, possibly rolling a little bit bearish, right? Pushing higher on Tuesday, coming down on Wednesday, popping a little bit on Thursday, and then maybe ending out the week bearish on Friday. As we go into the new year, maybe we drop a little bit, bounce a little bit. I don't know. I would expect something like this, something where it's a little bit more choppy than anything. I don't think we're going to be directional. If we do wind up being directional in the bullish direction, yeah, watch out for this 390 level, taking out the high that we put in this past Wednesday, and then actually retesting into this with the stock side of things. So if that does happen, just be careful about that, because there will be people probably trying to sell here as well, especially trying to freak the market out or fake the market out, as the futures would be getting just above kind of that retest of those lower wicks that we looked at just a bit ago. If we do that, watch out for the sell down, and maybe we do that on Tuesday and then come back down a little bit and maybe continue a little bit more bearish than Wednesday, kind of chop to end out the year on Thursday and Friday. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of bearishness, like a strong bearish trend move. I can see more bullishness with just more choppiness, really kind of end out the year. Alpha Hunters, it has been great. Been great to know a lot of you, get to meet a lot of you. The live stream is there, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come by, introduce yourself, let's talk. What do you look at? Because I don't watch everything, so we can definitely watch some things together, get an idea, get a game plan. Hey, you want to be bullish here? You want to be bearish here? That's fine. We can run through the different scenarios with options. I definitely have been enjoying learning from you guys as much as, hopefully I'm helping you guys. That's really what I wanted to be about. I want to try to help you guys, but I don't know everything about the stock market. The stock market's a massive, massive industry, business, and I've enjoyed, learning some of the things from you guys. So definitely been appreciating everybody that has been stopping by the live stream, chatting it up. But have a great holiday weekend. Merry Christmas, safe travels, and hopefully Santa brings you some cool toys. Alrighty, take care, Alpha Hunters.